Want a recipe for success? Step 1, visit ocdfamilypodcast.com/courses. Step 2, click on my link to browse OCD Training School's amazing course catalog. Step 3, enroll. And step 4, enjoy learning. With no added cost to you, you can support the OCD family community while grabbing some continuing education or learning how to bridge yourself to self-help strategies for OCD. Again, that's ocdfamilypodcast.com/courses. And use my special link to sign up today. Hey fam, it's been a minute, right? I know. About a month ago, I was like, yay, next week is our season premiere. But guess what? The internet, the recording setup, life, it apparently had other plans for me, meaning I've actually been radio silent for the past month. That is the longest break that I've ever had from the pod in all 4 seasons. And that's right, I said 4 seasons because that makes today our season premiere for season 4. What? So we're back, and I've got something really special for you in this episode. October is OCD Awareness Month, and this past week actually wrapped up OCD Awareness Week. And to celebrate, I had the chance to attend and record some interviews at our first ever Indiana-based IOCDF walk held in beautiful Zionsville, Indiana. And it was such an honor to work with OCD Midwest and IOCDF to bring the first Million Steps for a Cure to this state. It was a day full of community connection and people showing up for themselves and their loved ones. And I'm excited to bring you some of the voices and stories from that day. So let's dive right in because I've got so much to share. I'm Nicole Morris, licensed marriage and family therapist and mental health correspondent. And let me be the first to say, welcome to the family. The OCD family, that is. I am here to create a community of support for family members, spouses, partners, parents, adult children, as there may be adult words, and chosen family of OCD sufferers and their community. I've had over 22 years of experience in the mental health field, but please note that this information does not qualify or substitute as a diagnostic evaluation, therapy, or treatment, and it is presented on an as-is basis. Please follow up with a qualified mental health provider in your area regarding concerns for yourself or loved ones. Thank you for joining us today. Now, let's get started. Alrighty. It feels so good to be back with you, fam. I have missed you. I've gotten some notes like, hey girl, you okay? What's up? And I appreciate it. I will just say, I don't understand all the tech things, but we have very high-speed internet in the house, and there are, I'm going to call them routers or some kind of like frequency providers that help bounce that high capacity signal across the home. There's a couple different ports. So we have lightning fast internet anywhere you go in the house. And as it happens, my podcasting studio is probably as far from the actual internet router in the home as it can get. So what happened was apparently these frequency providers that bounce the really strong signal crapped out. I'm just going to say crapped out because that's like the way my brain understands it. Okay. And so we went through the process of calling and fussing with them until finally they were like, hey, we'll just send you a new unit. And then we got the new unit. And guess what? The new unit wasn't working either. I found this out because I was recording with guests and preparing these episodes for you. And the recording process was arduous. It was painful because the delay, because the internet wasn't crisp where I was recording. We were kind of talking over each other. That wasn't fair to the guests. It wasn't fair to you. And so here I was like, yay, we had our final water cooler chat. We're finally back. And I was having this internet problem. So we replaced I'm going to call them routers again, with some new and improved, better working routers. And now we're back in business. But I appreciate the check-ins from folks, and I appreciate your patience. I absolutely have missed this, though, and I love the interviews. I've been just chomping at the bit to have all these wonderful conversations, and we have so many great things ahead. I'm talking with the wonderful Dr. Michael Greenberg, and you're going to be able to hear that episode during OCD Awareness Month. I have different advocates with lived experience. We have the OCRD series coming up, which if you're newer, fam, that's the OC related disorder series. And it's one of my favorites. I run it every fall during the month of November. And so there's a lot of really exciting things. I'm talking with some new peeps and also collaborating with some of our favorite guests around here, like Dr. Anthony Pinto and more. So I apologize, but it really was one of those things where I was like, Nicole, it's outside of your circle of control. You can only do what you can do. You can't make the techie things do techie things that you don't know how to resolve. We tried to go through different appropriate channels and get things fixed and replaced, and we ultimately had to replace the system. But I think we are back in business. I am so excited. And what a wonderful way to kick off season 4 with different stories, different resources, different really cool ways of raising awareness. Aditi, I'm talking about you, girl. So without further ado, first up, we have my neighboring table, my purple booth twin, and that would be Dr. Courtney Ward from Zamwell. Courtney and I bonded instantly over all things violet because we were both like here for the purple vibe. You know, purple is one of OCD Family Podcast's brand colors, and it happens to represent Zamwell as well. And if you're like, what's Zamwell? No worries. I'm going to have Courtney tell you herself because she is doing vital work for mental health awareness here in the state of Indiana. And I can't wait for you to hear more.
Courtney, we are table mates here at the OCD Walk, first ever in Indiana through IOCDF and OCD Midwest. And we're both purple girlies. We have booths that are purple.
All the purple today.
I am loving it. So would love for you to tell us more about what you're doing out here today and the kind of awareness and resources that you guys provide.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm with Zamwell, which stands for the Zionsville Alliance for Mental Wellness. We're a nonprofit that was formed in 2023. The goal of our nonprofit is really just to encourage conversations about mental wellness and to have a place where people can have resources and discussions about mental health and mental health awareness. So we have a podcast series that is linked on our website at zamwell.org. We talk about a number of different topics. One podcast that I really like to share with people is our first one, which really talks about how do you even get started navigating the therapy process? Because I think it can be really confusing and convoluted for people of what kind of therapist to see and insurance. And so we try to take everyone through those initial steps to help ease that process a bit.
What's the name of the podcast?
The name of the podcast is called Unmasked, a mental health podcast. It's available on any podcast streaming site. There's a few other podcasts named Unmasked. So ours has the purple circle logo with Zamwell on it.
Yeah, purple. Oh, we really are purple. Sisters of another
purple.
mister.
Oh, I love that. We have a website. It's zamwell.org. On that website, we have a provider list for just local providers in the area. If people need help navigating, like what type of therapist do I need to see? We try to categorize it to kind of help navigate what type of providers would be helpful. We have the podcast linked on there. And we also try to do some educational series. So we just did a suicide prevention youth seminar. So teaching youth how to respond to a crisis.
I love that.
And we also do a lot of things like we had a college and coffee event. So incoming freshmen to college the summer before they leave could kind of get some information and learn how to prepare, as well as be on the lookout for signs of any kind of mental health concerns that might show up as you're transitioning. We try to offer a lot of that free programming and just encourage those conversations.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here today. Courtney Ward with Zamwell. Thanks for doing what you're doing. It's so important to raise awareness and to have these conversations.
I got interested in this because I'm a psychologist myself. And so I wanted something to, just be able to give back and help the community. Thank you so much.
Okay. Can we take a moment and appreciate how Courtney is giving back to the community as a psychologist, as an educator, as a podcast host? I love that they're doing their own podcasts. And again, I'm going to have all of the information linked. She said there are a couple podcasts by that same name, Unmasked. So I am going to make sure to link the appropriate one. But again, just remember, Purple Girlie, you can look it up wherever you enjoy your podcast as well. Look for that purple backdrop on Unmasked. Next, I want to feature the powerhouse herself, Amber Young. Amber's been on the pod before, and if you hear me name drop Amber throughout the remainder of the episode, it's because she has been so instrumental in helping organize Indiana's OCD consultation group, helping with this walk, and just overall pushing advocacy efforts at every level. She has a heart for different intersections and really meeting people where they're at to spread awareness and resources. So let's hear more from Amber.
Amber, welcome, welcome. I have been telling so many people when I look around, you, Angie, Ellie have done so much to help make this walk a reality here in Indiana. And so welcome back to the pod. You've been on before talking about sensory processing, how it can look in many different arenas. You've provided an example of what that looks like for autistic individuals. Welcome back to the pod. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This was such a success. And I thought if we can help one person know they're not alone, it's a success. But tell me, how was your experience at the walk? Because you were so busy and so mindful and intentional about soaking in and helping really all of us reflect on this process and treasure that, but also just meeting and greeting all the people. How has the walk been for you this year?
Yeah, this has been a bit of a dream come true. I've been talking about a walk for our state for years now, and I'm just really grateful for everybody who's just put in their time and their effort and their heart and all sorts of energy to make this happen. It's just been a beautiful experience to see clinicians and people with lived experience, and many of our clinicians have lived experience as well, and just see the community come together. We know that we have a great community in Indiana. It's just we haven't been together in one place.
Right.
So having a lot of us together in one place has just been a really beautiful experience, and I hope that we can recreate this. No, actually, I look forward to it, and I would love to have more experiences like this in the future.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And what I will say is Amber does so much work in just helping collate our voices. She runs our Indiana monthly consultation group through OCD Midwest. And what I will say is, if you're listening, and I know people are listening from all over the world, but if you're in Indiana and you're learning how to treat OCD, or you think maybe one of your clients has it, or you've been trained in exposure and response prevention, in acceptance and commitment therapy, or inference-based CBT, OCD Midwest, is that the best way to go, or to your website to learn more about the consultation group?
Yeah, absolutely. So OCD Midwest holds various consultation groups in different regions.
Mhm.
I am the leader of the Indiana consultation group, but we have them in different states, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois.
Yeah.
And they are free. And you don't necessarily have to be an OCD specialist. We have providers who are brand new, don't know anything about OCD, just want to learn. We have providers who pop in who are really seasoned and they just want to ask a few questions. So the best place, you can either go to OCD Midwest's website, and under their services, they have the consultation groups and they have contact information to reach out to the leaders in the various states. You can also reach out to me and email me in terms of how to get involved with ours. You can just email me at amberyoungllc.com, and we'll get you set up with the reoccurring invitation link.
I love that. And so I'm going to put that information over on this episode's blog for Amber and for OCD Midwest if you want to follow up there. But also, what strikes me is when you're in a private practice or you get licensed, sometimes it's harder to find that consultation in general for some of those cases and be collaborative. And as awesome as it can be to have that private practice experience, sometimes you miss being able to bounce ideas off of people, ways to help. And so I love that as a resource. You and I were also talking about just how much work that you have put into really raising awareness and building relationships and getting more information out about neurodivergent affirming care and so many different spaces where it would be beneficial for people to learn, whether we're talking about medical or law or anything about OCD. And so You're doing some exciting stuff and have been working really hard. Is there anything more that you would want to share about that, or do you want to keep us posted?
Well, I do have, several different projects in the works. It's not live on my website yet, but soon that will be reflected. Essentially, for quite a while, I've known that we have some barriers to people getting the treatment that they need. And we have some different intersection points that if we could get people information, if we could get clinicians trained in certain areas, if we could collaborate with certain different groups, people could be a lot more empowered. And so I have a lot of different projects. And essentially, I'm seeing fewer clients and I'm moving more into advocacy, policy, and systemic work.
Which
My
is so needed, Amber.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
needed. Yes.
My goal is starting in our state. Ideally, I would love for things to be better across the nation for people in general being able to access mental health. But the idea is to work on making mental health in general, but especially OCD, access to treatment easier and remove some of those barriers for our clients and for our clinicians. And so I have a lot of different projects in the works, and yeah, more information will come out.
I love that. Thanks for all you are doing to help people know they're not alone. And hey, if you're doing work similar to Amber and you're like, hey, we don't have to reinvent wheels because I got some ideas for you, reach out. Is that okay if I say?
Yes, please, absolutely. If you are somebody who has connections and abilities in terms of advocacy, policy, those types of things, I would love to hear from you. I would love to work together. Yes, please, let's not reinvent the wheel. We don't need to do these things alone. I would love to work together. Please reach out to me at the email that I mentioned before.
All right. So we'll have all that over on this episode's blog. Thanks again. Great to see you again, Amber. And this was amazing. Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Ah, love it. I love it. Amber, thank you so much. She's doing incredible work. And my sense is we are barely scratching the surface of the greatness she's going to bring to her advocacy, to the resources that will benefit our communities and beyond. So now I want to take a moment. I want to feature partners, whether you're living together, married, in a relationship. We know there are some special challenges that come when you are dating or in a relationship with someone that has OCD. And I was so elated to see such great representation from partners at the Indiana OCD Walk. I was like, get it, Indiana. I'm here for it. Because living with OCD doesn't only impact the individual, it touches the entire family. And I was just so moved by the conversations with Aditi and Cameron, two partners that are not only showing up, but standing by or raising awareness for their loved ones. And it was so cool. I think I even heard, we'll listen for it in the interviews, but I think I even heard that maybe they have a support group that decided to join the walk together. And I was like, yes, get it, you guys, because this is such important work. And not only is it a great resource for raising awareness for your loved one with OCD, but just knowing you're not alone as a family member. I mean, that's why we have the fam here, right? That's why we get together and chat. Because it has an impact on us. And we also have to take care of ourselves. And having people that are like, I get it is so important. So without further ado, I want to introduce you first to Aditi.
I am sitting here with Aditi, and I'm so grateful to have an opportunity to chat with you. Can you tell us what you're doing out at the OCD Walk today?
Yeah, definitely. So just as a little bit of background, my partner has OCD, and that's kind of how I got involved in the IOCDS, and just, like having firsthand experienced how important it is for there to be outreach. That's how I first got involved.
Yeah.
And I recently moved to Indiana. And when I was moving, I've been involved with the Boston OCD Walk before.
Yeah.
So when I was moving here, I got in touch with Ellie, and I just thought of any different ways that I could contribute.
Yes.
And one of the things that I like doing, my favorite hobby is thrifting. And one of the ways that I fundraise is just by using curated vintage pieces to fundraise
Yes.
for the IOCDF. And I thought this would be a great in-person way of doing that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So for anybody listening, it's really cool because you brought a clothing rack. There's no wrong way to raise awareness. And when you have a partner who has OCD, you know how much that affects the relationship. And so what makes us better as people with lived experience absolutely are the people that are surrounding us and encouraging us. So I love that you're getting involved. Boston has a really great
Yeah.
community. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And they've done amazing walks and things in the past as they continue to do. So we're so glad to have you here and your proactive willingness to get involved and continue the good work you're doing. Is there anything that you would want people in your situation, maybe dating, married, or in a situation where their partner is struggling with OCD? Is there any kind of message that you would have for them in terms of hanging in there or having hope?
Yeah, I guess different advice is better suited for different people in like different stages of treatment and
true.
things like that. But I think one thing that took me a really long time to understand is that even though providing reassurance feels good and like feels intuitive, learning how to not do
Fan-
that.
Fan
and
the
that-
flame of OCD. Yeah.
and how to have that not be your instinct. It's something that takes a lot of, I don't know, just practicing,
Yeah.
learning not to do that. And I think that can be really challenging for people who are used to, you want to comfort someone.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the thing is, we can still comfort, but it feels like you said, it feels so intuitive to be like, yeah, no, you're good. You're fine. Yes, we did this. No, nothing got left unlocked or whatever the thing is. And we can still be like, you know what? You got this. I'm sorry you're hurting. But it just feels like so easy to get drawn into the content for people with lived experience, for the family members, for the partners. And so I think that's such a great point. It is hard to do. It takes practice for sure. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And thanks for sharing your experience and your advocacy with all of us.
yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, Aditi. I love how she is taking different passions and interests and curating collections like she's doing through thrifting to ultimately raise awareness. In fact, the walk, the original OCD walk, came out of a gentleman, a dad, mourning and grieving the loss of his son who had very debilitating OCD, walking and going, you know what? I'm walking with a purpose. I'm going to go and I'm going to aim to talk to people about what is OCD? What does it look like? Tell them about my son's legacy. And through walking, that really was the channel for raising awareness. And you hear that in Aditi and what she's doing with thrifting. And I'm sure Boston's like, Aditi, we miss you. But I love that she's here and has just dove in and continued her amazing work and advocacy. And when I saw the garment rack and the clothes out, I was like, who do we have here? I love this. This is such a creative, awesome way. It just shows there's no wrong way to raise awareness. And I love it. Also, we got to talk with Cameron as he is supporting his fiance with their lived experience of OCD. I'm here with Cameron at the OCD walk, and I would love to know, Cameron, what brings you out to the walk today?
Well, my fiance has OCD, and she's been struggling with it for a couple of years. So we kind of do anything we can to go out and support the group that does things for it. So
I love that. And you know what? I'm loving the representation of partners out here involved because their partner is struggling with OCD, and it really does impact the relationship.
Right.
And so, to the degree that you're comfortable, do you have an example maybe for people listening going, oh, I didn't even realize that was like an OCD thing that can show up in relationship? Would you have maybe an example without giving away from the privacy of your loved one?
It's hard for her to drive.
Yeah.
So our schedules have to line up perfect for her to go to therapy because we live 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So just any time, if you don't have OCD and your spouse does, just be aware of it.
Yeah.
And comforting, because that's the main thing.
Right. Does their provider offer anything like telehealth, or is it only an in-person option?
We've done through the computer.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't
it's
feel the
better
same.
whenever
Yeah.
she goes in person.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard because here in Indiana, well, in a lot of different places around the world, sometimes you get lucky enough to have a number of providers where you live. But for a lot of people, they are driving. I know people have driven to come and see me. I treat OCD as well. And it helps that there's an option for telehealth, but sometimes people are really like, I need and want to be in person.
Right.
Well, we are so grateful that you came out today, and I'm so glad that this event has come to Indiana so that there can be more awareness. How did you find out about the walk? Did you hear about it on the news, or where did you find out about it?
They have a support group at therapy, and I think they all just planned on coming, and then that's how we went about it.
Well, thank you for showing up, and thanks for loving your partner and being there for them, because OCD lives and thrives in the different relationships and environments. And
Right.
so it's so important for partners to have support too. And we really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, anything we can do to support would be the greatest.
Thank you, Cameron.
Okay. I mean, you can't beat that. Real talk. These partners are the definition of love in action, and I love it. Their insights are just a reminder of how important support systems are, not only for our warriors, but for each other as we are supporting our warriors. So I absolutely love that. Thank you both to Aditi and Cameron. Okay, so I found some of my favorite clinicians in the wild that are treating in the state of Indiana. In fact, I found quite a few, but I'm going to feature two now and more to come later in this episode. First, with our Grand Marshal, y'all. None other than Bronwyn Schroyer. Bronwyn has been on the pod with me before. She's talked about trauma. She helped me wrap my mind around metacognitive therapy, which is a transdiagnostic treatment for OCD, PTSD, anxiety, and depression. But Bronwyn is also one of the co-founders of OCD Training School. And you may have noticed, whether you're listening to this episode or have been just hanging out with the fam for a hot minute now, I am an affiliate for OCD Training School, and I'm always excited to see how their course catalog continues to grow, offering amazing trainings. Some of the newer courses that are coming in, we have Treating Emetophobia in Kids and Teens with Barb Benson, which Barb has been on the podcast. Actually, she was on my very first OCRD series, season 1, talking about emetophobia, which is that very debilitating fear of vomiting. And so she's done a course with OCD Training School. There's also new courses on treating co-occurring eating disorders with OCD, courses for BFRBs, including process-based therapy to treat body-focused repetitive behaviors, and that's with Dr. Max Mazel. And I love Max, along with Amber Young, who we just heard from. We're both on my sensory panel season or 2 ago. And so there are so many different courses, justice-based exposure and response prevention. You can learn about inference-based cognitive behavioral therapy or ICBT. There's just so many really cool courses. There's also self-help courses. And when you use my special link, it also supports the podcast at no extra cost to you. And so if you want to check out their amazing course catalog, you can jump over to ocdfamilypodcast.com/courses, hit that link, browse their website for any of the resources. And when you make a purchase via that link, you're helping the fam too. So that's Bronwyn. She is one of the co-directors of the amazing OCD Training School. Also, if you've ever purchased a training that includes their resource hub, they have an online resource hub that is the business, so helpful and full of tools that I am regularly using with clients. It's so helpful. I also just want to mention for any clinicians that are in training, if you're licensed at a master's or a doctorate level, when you purchase a course on OCD Training School, they are APA, NBCC, and ASWB approved providers. That means your CEs that we update every licensure renewal are included for the coursework. And so if you're looking for some CEs, it's time to update. I know for clinicians that makes a difference when you're going for training. So, what an intro, huh, Bronwyn? Bronwyn was our Grand Marshal this year for our first ever Indiana Walk. She also practices here in the state of Indiana, and I can't wait for her to tell you more about her experience. So, without further ado,
Bronwyn.
Hello, Nicole.
You guys know Bronwyn. Bronwyn is one of the co-founders of OCD Training School. She is one of the lead disseminators and trainers of ICBT, that's inference-based CBT, and she does so much powerful work. But you are here today because not only are you an Indiana homegrown person here for the OCD Walk, you were our Grand Marshal.
I was.
So how was that? Tell me more about what this experience has been like.
It's really great to see Indiana get its own walk. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting that the IOCDF conference will be here in a couple of years. So it
I
feels
didn't
like
know
we're
that.
I did not know that either.
I was like, Indy? Has it ever been in Indy?
I don't know.
For those that don't know, there was an announcement that the International OCD Conference is going to be their annual conference in Indianapolis in 2 years. So
Yeah.
this year it's going to be in Seattle, which I do love Seattle, Pacific Northwest. And then it's going to be in Indianapolis.
No, it's fantastic. And people can come and see what Indiana's all about.
Yes.
Great.
Another really cool attribute of today's walk, and this is completely selfish on my part, but I got to meet you in person because we have talked many times virtually and been connected for a hot minute. And we also, as service providers in the state, are often checking in with each other, sharing resources and referrals. But this is the first time we've met in person.
I know. I got to hug you, which was
I
great.
know. I hugged you twice, and I'm not mad about it. So, being a grand marshal, have you ever done that before?
I have never been a grand marshal. I don't even know that I've worn a sash before. And Angie Henry made me a beautiful sash.
Did she? That sounds like Angie.
Definitely sounds like Angie.
Angie is the sweetest, and it's so wonderful to have you come and share more. We've talked about exposure and response prevention. We talked about inference-based CBT. You shared a little bit of your story, and it's really exciting, especially knowing that we have choices and options for treatment of OCD. Of course, there's also acceptance and commitment therapy. There's rumination-focused ERP, justice-based ERP, lots of different choices. But you are one of the main trainers, really domestically here in the U.S. for ICBT. And so how does it feel to be in an IOCDF event sharing? Because I know you also are the co-chair of the special interest group that IOCDF has for ICBT.
Yeah, it's great to talk about all those treatment options because it's great that we all have options. But yeah, getting to talk about ICBT is always fun just because it's such a different modality and it is helping people as well. And adding in another tool is always a good thing in my mind, especially with that evidence base growing and the IOCDF now having it as part of their treatment guideline. So it's great.
Woot woot. Yes, that's true. Also, Bronwyn, you treat trauma and you're specialized in, I want to say EMDR, and there's probably more. Are you?
I do CPT as well and written exposure therapy. Yeah.
Okay. Which is the worst acronym. I'm just going to say it. It's WET. I say WET. I don't know if people call it WET, but I also kind of love it for that reason. Yeah.
It's an interesting acronym to have.
I love this because we've had you on the pod before a couple different times, but talking about trauma. And I love that because trauma is so important. And it's important that it's treated differently than OCD. But because they can be fellow travelers together and overlap in terms of some of the triggers and distress, I love anytime people can learn, like, yes, you can combine therapy for OCD with other treatment modalities. So I love that you're able to be here. And it's so lovely to meet you in person.
I know, it is really great to be here in person and to hear people's stories. I was walking around and talking to people, and it's good to hear those stories and people aren't feeling so alone, getting to see people in a crowd. And I think when you're talking about the co-occurrence, it's going to be interesting to see where that all goes research-wise. I mean, we know that OCD is a fellow traveler of many different things.
So many different
Yeah.
things.
So it's really great. I mean, your podcast is helping to bring awareness to that too. So thank you for that. And I feel like there's so many people out there that have not just OCD, but OCD and something people deserve to have treatment path.
Yeah, and I'll put a link over on this episode's blog at ocdfamilypodcast.com. But I know Dr. Caitlin Pinciotti, who does so much great research in that intersection really of OCD and trauma and has really just been working hard. And you guys have worked quite a bit together at this point too. I think she also has a course that's available through OCD Training School.
Yeah, on justice-based ERP.
Yeah, she does a lot in the intersectionality for the LGBTQIA plus community as well. And like so many of you are just powerhouses, and we are just so grateful that you took some time to not only drive in and come, we all drove in basically for the walk, but also to chat again with the fam. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, it's good. I'm always happy to chat with the fam.
So if you picked up that there's going to be an IOCDF conference, that is the annual conference with so much learning and different tracks, not only for OCD, lived experience, family members, but also they've been having tracks for body focused repetitive behaviors and body dysmorphic disorder, as well as disorders that co-travel, co-mingle, co-wrestle with OCD, because we know that happens. And so I loved hearing about that. And then I also have Angie. Angie is my sister of another mister, my spirit animal, and my co-chair for this event. Yes, I was a co-chair. You'll hear us talk about this. Angie's like, don't cut this out. But we were co-chairs for the event. And I just had a lot of life this past year. So I was like, I don't think I necessarily have the spoons to help co-chair this event. But she did such an amazing job. And when I looked around, and you'll hear it, Ellie Skelton, Amber Young, they all did such amazing work. So I was technically a co-chair of this event, which has been humbling to me because it's so hard to take credit when you feel like you didn't really contribute that much. But I'm going to lean in. I'm going to lean into the anxiety. For my exposure and response prevention friends, we know what that's like. I'm just going to lean in. And I'm going to let you hear more about Angie.
Angela Henry,
Am I in trouble?
LCSW. You are not in trouble. You're amazing. We are at the OCD Walk. And you know
Yes,
what?
we are.
You and I went to the OCD Chicagoland Walk last year.
Rainy and cold. We did it.
Was an experience. It was actually really fun, though.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was.
it was
It was an
great.
adventure.
It was an adventure. And you were like, we are bringing this to Indiana.
When I said we, I meant you and I, and we did it. We did it.
I know you meant we. Now, a little backstory that I'm just going to tell myself because I can't not, Angie. First of all, when I look around, your name is all over this. You did so much hard work and so much amazing coordination just to pull this off. And it was really successful. And so I first want to just say thank you.
Well, thank you. It's a team effort.
It is a team, but I'm just going to focus on the you right now in team, which is so uncomfy and fun, right? But also you did a great job. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you've done. Angie is my closest neighboring OCD therapist.
Yes.
She's in the South Bend area and we are not close. I mean, in terms of
We're
proximity.
close in heart, but
We
not
are-
2 hours.
We are besties in heart,
Yes.
but yes, we're like 2 hours apart.
Yes.
And so often you and I, even though we might get telehouse people on our waiting list from all over the state, often people are like, who's going to open first? Angie
right,
or Nicole, where are we
right.
driving? Because
Yeah.
they're kind of like between us.
Yes, because there's not a lot of providers.
And Angie also does so much awesome work and advocacy surrounding pans and pandas, around ticks, around BFRBs. I mean, I don't know what you don't do, Angie, because you're just amazing. And so how has the walk been for you today?
Oh, you know what? First of all, it's a beautiful day. It's hot.
It
No
is.
rain like the walk last year
In Chicago.
in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah. So I would rather have hot sun and beautiful day. So it was great. People came out with their dogs. We're right next to a dog park. So the dogs had fun. The people had fun. The kids had fun.
The location is perfect.
Yeah,
It's been
it was
really nice.
great. It was just really nice to see the community come out and really support people with OCD and really encourage them and provide information. We had an engagement table where we had just information on what OCD is so that more people can be identified and get the treatment that they need sooner.
Yes.
They don't have to wait the 13 years, which is the average from the research right now. And
Yes.
we talked a little bit, during our pre-walk conversation, we can do better.
Yes.
We can do better. So this is a way that, at least in Hoosierland here this weekend, that we did our job in helping raise information, raise support so that more research can be done and people can feel supported.
Yes. And Angie, you were also featured in the WRTV ad that was promoting the walk. And one of the things that we, as really kind of a committee that we're all working on this walk, talked about was I was really touched on how WRTV really captured the salient points of what is OCD. It's not a preference. It's not an adjective. It is a serious mental health disorder, and it's a lot more
ordered.
common than people realize. And so that was one of, and I'm not just saying this because it was our Indiana walk, but it was one of the best promos I've seen to learn more about the psychoeducation.
Yeah.
And that really was, I was impressed with WRTV. They did a beautiful job.
It's like they understood the spirit of what they were
Yes.
needing to do and talk about it.
But I think that also comes from you guys that participated in it, understanding the spirit of what needed to be communicated. And so Amber Young, yourself, Krista
Yeah.
Reed, all participated in that. And what a joy to see this actually come to fruition, to
Yeah.
meet people,
Yes.
to have them feel like they're not alone.
Absolutely. And we busted through our goal.
Oh,
Our
my
goal
gosh.
was 3,000.
Yes.
And we are like, even before the end, we're at like 11.5. And there was a beautiful donation by the Bill Simpson Foundation. And their indie-based organization. And we're just so thankful that
Yes.
they came out and really supported OCD and the community with that donation.
Yes, I love that. I mean, we even had, I know we had Purdue. Did we have
At Indy 11,
Indy
which
11?
is soccer, yeah.
Okay.
So they came out and
Yes. So we had so many wonderful Indiana businesses
Grassroots,
and
good stuff.
organizations, yes, contributing. And that felt wonderful. And this location is super cute. I love the dog park right there. Well, Angie, thanks again for everything you've done. This walk, I know you worked so hard on it, and yet you work so hard on everything. It's just how you work. And so I appreciate you
Well,
so much.
thanks, Nicole. And and I hope you don't edit this out, that we were co-chairs. And I'm so glad that you helped and we were able to do this together. And so cheers to next year.
Yes. Cheers to next year.
I love Angie. She's great. She's great. And she really is. She's my closest within reach practitioner, and she's a couple hours away from me. So this is what happens when we live in more remote areas. And I'm telling you, Indiana did not have a lot of support. Angie and I actually are byproducts of being behavioral therapy trained from IOCDF and given their BTTI designation because Indiana needed more help. They're like, y'all, we need evidence-based practices stat in the Hoosier State. And so, Angie, it is a thrill to be in the trench with you. I could not ask for a better neighbor and really not just colleague, but friend. So thank you so much, Angie, for being you. Okay, that brings us to Ellie. Ellie is our outreach chair for OCD Midwest. She sits on the board and she helped spearhead this walk. And honestly, I just have to say, I think she captured the heart of it perfectly here.
Well, good to see you, Ellie. I feel like we're really getting to know each other.
I love it.
Yeah. Anybody that maybe tuned into the OCD Chicagoland Walk episode we did during season 3 got to know Ellie, and we're going to refamiliarize ourselves right now. But Ellie is also on the board for OCD Midwest, yeah?
Yes.
What's your official position, Ellie? I should know that.
No, good. It's chair of outreach and connection.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you have a lot of outreach within the 4 states that we have. What are the gaps? What are we seeing? What are we excited about? What do we need? AKA walks in Indiana, walks in Michigan.
You know what I'm realizing, Ellie?
What?
I'm going to totally out myself here. But at dinner last night,
Yeah.
I was like, Amber, you should be the chair of Walks and Connection, because I didn't realize that was a real position, even though that's your position. And Ellie was like, oh yeah, she's great at it. Not going like, Fish, that's my role. No, you're gracious. But okay, Ellie, that is the official position. What I will say is Ellie has been instrumental in helping bring this walk. Like you, Angie, and Amber.
It takes a team. And you as well, right? Everybody that's pitched in, it takes a
I
team.
have pitched in, and I'm not shading that, but with the bandwidth of life,
Sure.
you guys absolutely rose to the challenge. And you guys just had your Chicago walk a couple weeks ago, and then we had the very first Michigan walk as well, which I think you
Yes.
went and attended, right?
Yes. So I was helping to lead the front for the Indiana and the Michigan ones, was their first ever ones.
Yeah.
And so wanted to make sure, right, everything is incongruent with what we need to do with IOCDF. You know, some of the things that you just don't know unless you've been to several walks of what do we need? How do we fundraise? But I mean, really, it's the team,
Yeah.
right? And so it's the it's a boots on the ground kind of
Yes.
sort of speak, which is you all in the community. So thankful for that.
Since you've been now at least 3 different state walks, which one's the best? No, I'm kidding.
This is the thing.
They're all great in their own way.
They're all great in their own way. They all have a different flavor. And each one that I walk away from, I just get a rejuvenation of compassion, passion for our community,
Yeah.
and such a really great sense of hope.
Yeah.
Just meeting the people from lived experience, from support, from clinician. If I can say this on here, we're badass and
We
we're forced
are.
to be reckoned
Oh,
with.
please.
And
Badass it
everybody
up.
is so talented. And yeah, so I just leave maybe it's silly to say, but literally all the warm and fuzzies, right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of coordination, but in the day, it's worth it because we get to see the fruits of our labor.
Yes.
And when I say it's a team, it has to be a team. There's not one person that does it all. And so I'm so
Yes.
thankful for the amazing people here in Indiana
Well,
and
and
for being so welcoming to me, which I feel like an outsider, even though Indiana is a state that we practice in, but still.
you're
So
not
I
an
love y'all.
outsider. You're part of the nucleus.
Oh,
you
I love it.
are. You are.
Honored.
OCD Midwest.
Honorary
No,
Indiana.
seriously, when I think of this walk, I'm like, oh my gosh, your name is all over it. Angie's name is all over it. And
Yeah, she's
Amber's name
phenomenal.
is all over it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just
She's
super
great.
proud of being part of the team. And that's what's great about a team too. Like when life is lifing and things
Mhm.
get busy, not having to do it alone is so
Absolutely.
important. And isn't that the greater message for OCD?
It absolutely is.
It sure is.
It's-
Cross stitch that on a pillow.
It's shared responsibility. You know, and each walk has their own different flavor. I've yet to go to Ohio's. That's my goal for next year. But
Mhm.
everybody can do whatever they want, whatever the community sees as valuable. And that's what's so cool about it.
I love
And
that.
it's a safe space. Like
It
in
is.
Michigan, I was talking to some people after the walk, and someone was kind of hesitant to speak. And he just pauses. He goes, wait, this is a safe space. I have a huge fear of flying. That's why I haven't gone to any of the conferences because I got to take the train. That was my
Yeah.
first time being able to get to go. We're talking very vulnerably with an amazing donor here and someone with lived experience on the challenges of getting care. But the fact that they're here
Yeah.
and this was the biggest exposure,
Yeah.
probably not the biggest for them, right? Maybe in general, but the biggest of the day, I think is what
Yeah.
they said. Like, that's pretty badass.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think about it. I was doing face painting here at the walk, and even
Such
for people being touched, contamination
Great, yeah.
themes, or people were getting different, we encourage people to pick if they're doing exposure and response prevention, maybe something they're scared of that they would be willing to
Love it.
face. And, it's really cool to see people feel brave and empowered and know that they can do it. I think it's so important that the message is that people know they can live their lives, that OCD doesn't have to be the boss of it. And
Mhm.
you can,
You're not alone.
you can be in community, you can absolutely fight together, and you aren't alone. It is
Absolutely.
so prevalent, and there's still so much work and awareness to be raised, but this has really helped, and I appreciate everything you've done. Come
Thank
on
you.
over.
So do you.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks. We do it. We do our thing. So thank you. Appreciate you
Yeah,
being
thanks for
here.
having
And
me.
I loved having dinner
Yes.
last night.
That was fun.
We had a great dinner, and I think that was one of my highlights of
I agree.
really.
Ty and I both went home. We're like, I'm so glad we did that. Just the vibe hits a little bit differently when we're in person. We're volleying different jokes. It's tangential in the best way possible.
That's right.
So we need to do more of these. And I think even more to speak to, can we get OCD Midwest to do more in-person little happy
Meet and
hours,
greets
little
and
coffee
stuff.
greets?
Yes.
Yeah. Family events.
Yes.
And yes, the answer is yes. We
Have
will.
some meat on ice. I mean, I would love that. I would love that. I had to sneak it in.
You had to stick
Yes,
it
we
in.
have people that are like, that doesn't make sense, and maybe even sounds gross. I'm just going to let you hang in the curiosity
I
and
love
the
it.
uncertainty.
Dude, let it hang.
That's
And see if
right.
there's any comments or questions that pop up from you. Nice.
Yeah. We'll hold that space for you. Okay. Well, thanks, Allie. It was so good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I was so appreciative that Ellie came over from the Chicagoland area. She is native to the Chicago area. I will post links to her practice. But she also came over with another Chicagoland provider, and that is my dear friend Madison. But Madison is not only a friend, she also is an influencer on Instagram that provides so much great advocacy and awareness about exposure and response prevention, about inference-based CBT, and about hope. From a lived experience warrior to a professional that is making such dynamic change and bringing hope and healing to so many people living with OCD, it is a pleasure to have Madison back. Hey, Madison.
You probably know her as at Obsessively Strong. And she also runs social media for her counseling group in Chicago, which remind me of the handle.
At Chicago Counseling Center.
Yes,
Super
yes.
easy.
Yes, yes. Okay, check it out. What? And so, Madison, you've been on the podcast. You were on with Angie talking about the conference recap. We did your walk last year, and you guys just did it a couple weeks ago.
We did,
In
yes.
Chicago, which is what really kind of inspired this. It was raining, but it actually was really fun.
Mhm.
It was really fun. And so I give you all the flowers for coming all the way to Indiana here. Tell me, how do you think the walk went today?
I thought it was really, really good, especially being a first time walk for Indiana. It was a wonderful turnout. The location is beautiful. And again, all the clinicians that cared so deeply volunteering to create this, to fund it, to do all those wonderful things. It ended up being a really, really wonderful experience for the people that were there, and me especially as another Midwesterner. We love that the Midwest walks are amazing.
Yes. And also, we had a little committee dinner last night with much of us that
Mhm.
were working, and that was really lovely to have some conversations. But really, the idea of it with Ellie, with Angie, with Amber, yourself was born in last year's Chicago walk.
Mhm.
And now this is the first one in Indiana. Michigan also had their first walk this year. Ohio's had a lot of established walks. Illinois
Mhm.
has established walks, but it's really exciting to see OCD Midwest expand.
Mhm.
And so, what are you hoping to see in terms of these walks, or just an ability to get together and meet other people with
Mhm.
lived experience?
Mhm. Honestly, I think more connection. What happened last year is the hope that I have for most walks, right? You guys just came kind of to support me and get just be in my neighborhood, my neck of the woods. And that landed into you guys meeting Ellie, which ended up getting a good conversation going about walks here, walks in Michigan. And I think that's what's beautiful about the OCD community. Every clinician and OCD clients and people genuinely are just so kind, opening, warm, even though OCD doesn't tell us we are. We're so kind, warm. And I think that creates this beautiful community where we're all looking to expand and connect and create more meaningful spaces for that. And that's exactly what happened last year. So continuing walks, I want that continued connection and networking and growth to continue to get more advocacy for OCD.
I love that. And you really, I've told you many times, you really have been on the forefront since you were a graduate student, getting involved, learning. You've been on the pod talking about your lived experience, and you talk a lot about it on At Obsessively Strong, where you talk about and do a lot of advocacy for OCD treatment, awareness. You talk about exposure and response prevention and inference-based CBT and so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you, I look at you and I go, oh my gosh, the future of our field is so lucky, because when we have folks such as yourself diving in and know so much, I'm like, gosh, I wish I knew what you know now, even at this time, and you have your whole life ahead of you still. I just want to say thank you for all the advocacy and awareness you raised. We were talking last night about all the amazing work that your Instagram account and awareness brings. So I'm going to put for Madison's influencer information on OCD and more over on this episode's blog, OCD Family Podcast. But anything else you would want to share before you go?
That was a very, very kind thing for
Well,
you
I'm
to
kind,
say. You
but
are
I'm also
kind.
honest.
And I appreciate that. And
Not
I
just kind.
agree. I've done a lot, and I'm proud of myself for those things. But I also want to mention I wouldn't be at this space unless I had other clinicians that were willing to provide me that education and give me the resources. And the community, especially with clinicians too, are just so incredibly kind, giving stuff away for free, especially when I was in grad school, so much. So it's I couldn't have maybe had all this knowledge or continued growth, and I want to continue to learn, but I wouldn't have had all that without you guys either. So
You're
give
so sweet.
yourself credit too. You, Nicole, Bronwyn, Angie, all y'all.
You're sweet. And what I will say is, if you're ever sitting there, if you're listening or if you're looking at Madison's Instagram or anything like that, and you're like, do they even see my messages? Do they care? We met even, and you've talked about this on the pod before, but we met because you reached out and you're like, I'm learning this. Thank you for that. And it started a conversation. And so it's really cool how this community, as we grow in learning and awareness, are getting to know each other, and we can build genuine friendships and sisterhood and warriorhood together as lived experience or even as treatment providers. And so, yeah, it's so awesome to have you here in the Hoosier land.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a given, Ange. Didn't it feel like a given that we were going to go to Chicago? But you, and coming to Indiana, I was like, we're so lucky. Oh my gosh, we got all these Chicago people.
Okay, but think about it too. Like when I like this is crazy in my mind when I think about it. Like I messaged you like 2 years ago. We didn't know each other, and last night we shared a hotel room. Like what?
Yeah.
What is life? That's insane.
We also could have gotten into a sketchy situation in an Airbnb downtown.
You know
which
what?
is
I
how we
don't know
changed that.
Indiana very
No,
well.
I want to hear the story.
Yeah, it was. We'll fill you in later on that one, Angie.
Good
But
exposure though, maybe.
yes, I was like, we will die tonight. So then we stayed in a hotel, and it was great. They had free breakfast. We stayed there with some high school team. It was great.
Yeah.
They were very respectful kids. It was very sunny.
Yeah. But just that's insane to me that like 2 years ago we didn't know each other and like just a simple message led to so much connection for me
Yes.
as a lived experience person because I wasn't treating it when I first met you. Now, obviously, having gone through finished grad school, now treating OCD, but that's just crazy that it was just something that I was like,
Yes.
I like your stuff. Let's connect. And now we're friends.
Well, and the thing about it is you feel so alone as a person with lived experience. Then you learn what OCD is, and you're like, oh my gosh, who doesn't have OCD? It seems, it feels like.
Facts.
And then you're like, but why don't I know anybody then? And so to be able to build genuine relationships, that's what the OCD walk's all about. That's what advocacy is all about. That's where expanding this knowledge grows out, not just goes, but grows. And so I'm so thankful for you making the trip. And yeah, so good to see you.
You ask why I come? That's why. You guys, the friendships, the community.
We're going to have a kumbaya hug it out moment.
Absolutely.
Oh, she's great. And we were roomies. That was very fun. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit. I'll just tell you, with all this internet stuff and trying to get life on the rails, because it just felt like rah, everything is just breaking down here. Madison was so sweet to be like, you know what? I'm going to book us an Airbnb. She's from the Chicago area. I was like, way to lead, Madison. Thank you so much. But when I first looked at the listing, I thought, I don't know, this might be a little shady area. Any of us folks that have grown up in bigger cities are like, you understand different blocks, different zoning areas, and you can have like a really cool block, and then like around the corner, it can be kind of sketch, and then like another block down. It's great. And so when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's going to go. But I went there and, you know, very quickly just trusted myself from an ICBT perspective. I trusted myself. And I was like, we're going to die if we stay here. I mean, it was just, there was some activity afoot even as I pulled up to the Airbnb. And I was like, yeah, nope, I think we're just going to stay at a hotel tonight. So overall, Indianapolis is a very safe city, although we just had at the same time during the same weekend, which was in a very nice part of downtown. If you've ever been to downtown Indianapolis, it's actually like a really clean city. It's really, overall, it's a really nice city, especially for a bigger city, capital city, downtown. But that same weekend that this walk was going on, and actually that same evening that I was driving to the Airbnb, which was not far from this hotel, actually, we had this incident with Mark Sanchez, which, if you know who he is, former football player, commentator, got in a knife fight with a stranger. Big old mess happened in Indianapolis. And so it's kind of wild. And it's like my world's colliding because I went to grad school and lived for many, many years out in Los Angeles. And he used to play for USC, which is the University of Southern California. It's just like wild. So I'm like, wow, we were almost blocks away. Hours before Mark Sanchez had his incident, completely unrelated, but I am, I'm here for the irony of it. And so anyway, we got a hotel that was closer to where we had dinner. We had a wonderful dinner with the board, and it was a lovely time to come together with the walk committee. And so, Madison, thank you so much for being my roomie, but even more so, thank you for being my friend. Also, we had Jessica Hood at the walk. Jessica is a name that I've seen around for years, you guys, because she has done so much to bring together Hoosier therapists, Indiana therapists. And I've seen her in my local Northern Indiana mental health groups. I've seen her in the state of Indiana OCD group. I've now had the pleasure of meeting her in person. and seeing the great work that she's doing with indie therapists.
I am sitting with the one, the only Jessica Hood. Welcome to the pod. You are busy.
I am.
I would love for you to share about your experience treating OCD here and what it means to have the OCD walk now.
Yeah. I mean, when I started treating OCD, there were about 4 or 5 known providers that I could find to treat OCD,
Yeah.
which is why I started treating OCD, because I had a client who needed it. And
Same.
like, I couldn't find somebody who knew what to do really
Same.
that wasn't on a wait list. And I took it, and then I got on the BTTI wait list, and they were like, we have an opening in like 3 days and a Kano walk. Do you want to go? And I was like, sure, because it's like a 500-person wait list and you had an opening. And it was for the
Right.
pediatric one. And I was like, yes.
Was it during COVID?
No, it was before COVID.
Okay, because I had a similar thing where they like suddenly open. I don't know how they found me actually, but
Yeah, no, like, well, I applied, and like the next day they were like, we have an opening this coming weekend. Do you want to come? And I'm like, okay. And I think, my passion or my mission really is our business mission statement,
Yeah.
which is excellent and effective clinical care for children and their families. And families weren't getting that for OCD. And so
Right.
then it became, we're actually doing harm, right? Like, by not educating people, by not knowing that, like, as therapists, as not knowing that ERP, we are actively harming people because it is taking so long for people to get treatment and
Yes.
get accurate treatment. And so then I ended up with like 30 people wait lists
Yeah.
for like a year and a half. And I was like,
Mhm.
I can't do this. And I was in a mastermind group, and they were like, well, you should do a training. And I was like, but there's already trainings. And they're like, well, people want like an in-person training. And I was like, okay, guess I'll do it. And
And now you're like Miss Indiana when it
Now
comes
I-
to training.
now
You
people
are.
are like, you're the OCD lady. And I'm like, okay, I guess I am. But no, I mean, I think it is just being able to get people access to care, right? Because what I always say is, if that statistic is correct, if on average it takes people 10 to 12 years or 13 or 40, it doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah.
If it takes on average people, that means there's people less and people more. But that means that regardless, kids aren't getting
Right.
help when they're kids.
hard
It's
to
not until they're
capture.
adults that they're getting help. And like, people shouldn't have to suffer for a decade before they get therapy, right?
Yeah.
That helps them. And like, kids shouldn't lose their entire childhood to OCD. And so I think that it's more like, I want people to get the care that they need. That's fueling my loudness about OCD and like trying to perpetuate, let's actually get people trained and know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And just aware, or even if you don't know what you're doing now, know what you're equipped to do and how to refer to somebody that can. Because not everybody has to treat OCD, but we need to be able to flag OCD, clock OCD, and get people to evidence-based care. I interviewed Amber Young, and one of the things we were talking about recently was just like, yeah, you can't fish for everyone. You got to teach people how to fish, that there's natural spaces where we just need to help people learn more, because you can't be the therapist for all OCD patients or clients in the state. And so what you're doing is really important. And you probably also were like, I didn't ask to lead this battalion. I just happen to be one of the only people doing it.
No, I just happen to be a very loud
Yes.
human. And so it worked. But yeah, and I mean, I've done like 1 hour trainings too. Like,
Yeah.
what is OCD and what is the treatment for it?
Yeah.
Even for people who don't want to treat OCD, to just
Right.
recognize that it's not just lining people up and I washing my hands because of dirty doorknobs. Like, that's
Right.
not, I mean, that
It
is,
can include
it can
that,
include
but
that.
it has to function as OCD.
Right.
And it also, there's so much more to it. That's
Yeah.
a surface level compulsion that people don't understand the underlying intrusive thoughts or doubts that are leading to that. So absolutely. And one of the things you and we talked a little bit earlier in this
Yeah.
walk time together. I was introducing myself to you, and I was just like, yeah, sometimes we don't have the bandwidth. It's not like we signed up to be the person to be the sole provider to bring information, but we're passionate about people learning the information. And so we want more people to understand, and that's what's beautiful about seeing something like this walk come together and people be excited. I thought the turnout was amazing.
It was great, especially for a first walk. And I think, again, the more we can bring education to OCD and what it is and help people not feel alone and really just instill hope that there's the ability to get better,
Yeah.
right? Like, I always phrase it to my clients, like, my job is not to get rid of OCD or whatever. Like, my job is to help you live the life you want to live the way you want to live it.
Right. Not the way OCD bosses and says, you maybe can't live possibly outside of this what if. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love it. You're doing great work. Thanks for the great work you're doing. And if you're listening and you're like, I want to get more involved, and I have some different skills that I can add in, jump in, y'all. There are Facebook groups for the Indiana OCD providers.
Yep.
These walks, now that we have this established, I heard, did you guys hear? I didn't know. 2 years from now, Indy is going to be the host city for the International OCD Conference. I'm here for it.
Amazing.
Well, it was wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for your time, Jessica, and thank you for all you do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Jessica Hood, she's like, you know what? I didn't necessarily sign up to lead. I just learned and I was like, I have to share what I know. And I think so many of us that are at this walk, whether we are professionals and mental health providers or family members or lived experience warriors, we're like, hey, people need to know more. They get to know more. And so it was such a pleasure to be with everybody this past weekend. It was such a treat. And with that, I'm going to end on this note with the sweet family that I had an opportunity to talk with. I got to speak with Joelle and her mom, and her little sister was there. She was just like, I'm here. That's what I consent to being here, just here. But she came out for support. I loved that. And Joelle's dad even gave us a few thoughts right at the end there. And so I wanted to end with this because we are the OCD Family Podcast. And it was such a treasure to see this family out together. And I think Alyssa, Joelle's mom, put it best. So let's hear from Joelle and her family.
My name's Joelle and I'm 6.
6 years old. Is this your first time coming to an OCD walk?
Yep.
Yeah? Did you have fun? Yes? She nodded yes for all of you that are like, oh, I'm on this cutie's bated breath. And I got to face paint you. You have a butterfly. That is very cool.
It's coming on my face.
Oh, it is coming on your fingers. It's hot today, huh? But you know what? It comes off real easily too. Isn't that nice? So you can enjoy it and then you can take it off. So Joelle, what brings you to the OCD walk today?
My mom.
Your mom and you? I love that. And mom's Alyssa. Well, so good to have. And you guys are from
Freely living.
Freely
OCD
Living.
and anxiety therapy.
Okay, I got you. Freely Living. And are you guys based here in the Zionsville area?
I'm in Greenwood, Indiana.
Yes, I love Greenwood. Still in the central Indiana, around the Indianapolis area. And so how was the walk for you today? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really great. I was very impressed by the turnout. There was a good number of people here and everyone was kind of exploring everything and good group walking that loop.
Yes. It's all so empowering when we know we're not alone. Right, Joelle? Joelle's nodding. She's like, I'm with you. We're now communicating through vibes, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think just seeing everybody here and knowing that everyone could come together today and be in one place from all over Indiana, it was really cool to see.
I agree. Dad, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think it was a great experience seeing everybody coming together, walking for a cause, and yeah, a beautiful day as well. So that always helps, and it was a good time.
I love it. Well, we're better together, and I thank you guys for coming out. It fills my heart. She's like, I am done. It fills my heart with joy, though, to see families out because we experience everything in the family, and we're like the biggest cheerleaders for each other. So thanks for being here. Thanks for helping everybody know we're not alone, and love having you guys at the walk.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So, what a wonderful time of community, and what a wonderful way to kick off season 4 of OCD Family Podcast. I'm going to give you some final thoughts. Usually, I do an intrusive thoughts segment, but right now, as we wrap this up, I'm just going to encourage you to reflect on community. There's so many different aspects, right? And look around because we have each other, and that is amazing. We got this. Thank you for joining me and our OCD family community. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please like and subscribe to the OCD Family Podcast wherever you enjoy your podcasts. Did you find this content helpful? Please consider leaving a review. The more people that know they're not alone, the better. For more information regarding today's podcast, please visit ocdfamilypodcast.com and remember to join the email list while you're there. It will provide you with the most up-to-date information, resources, and the down low on the family chatter. Oh yeah, nothing says family like community and me chatting with the family. That's right, I went there. And you can too at ocdfamilypodcast.com. Therapists, ready to shape the future of pediatric OCD treatment? Join the Next Steps in Pediatric OCD on-demand course from Angela Adamson Springer, LCSW, and learn how to adapt inference-based cognitive behavioral therapy for kids. With research still emerging, this course empowers you to explore new methods and contribute to the growing field of evidence-based practices. With OCD Training School's 365-day access for on-demand courses, you'll gain practical tools to help kids by adapting ICBT's signature 12 modules to be as creative as the kiddos you're treating. So sign up at ocdfamilypodcast.com/courses to support the podcast at no extra cost and support further growth and hope for our youngest of warriors.